In today's video, we're going to focus on the Pi cycle top indicator for Bitcoin because we've seen tremendous changes in Bitcoin's price action, and that's influencing these two moving averages, which have historically correctly, accurately predicted bull market tops for Bitcoin. So subscribe to the channel for more videos like this in the future. Let's dive right into it, and like this video if you enjoy content like this going forward. So in recent times, we've seen a breakout to new all-time highs for Bitcoin, and this has really curled up this 111-day moving average, this orange moving average, the more sensitive one to changes in price action. So since that breakout, that curl up has been quite substantial. And if we think about how substantial that curl up has been, on June 1st of this year, we were seeing 92k be represented by this 111-day moving average, and right now that's around 98k, just below 100k. So just in a month and a half, less than a month and a half, we've seen a change by 7k or so, 7k. We're just below 100k right now. And what's interesting about propagating these two moving averages into the future to better understand when we're going to see a bull market top within roughly 3 to 5 days. So it's going to be a 3 to 5 day window. Propagating these two moving averages into the future, just a few days ago, this was around April 2027, and price has consolidated, it moved up a little bit as well, but now we're seeing February 2027 be that Pi cycle top prediction. So of course, when we cross over in 2027, the prices are going to be quite high. But the thing about this is that if we saw a shift from April a few days ago, 2027, to now February 2027, within just a span of a few days, and prices maintaining these high levels, and so this moving average is going to continue to take those price levels into account when averaging out the moving average effectively, that's going to only bring back into the near future this Pi cycle crossover. And as a result, that's also going to mean that the crossover is going to occur at lower and lower and lower prices. So the later the crossover, so in 2027 in this case, for example, the higher the price. But we're going to start seeing drastic changes with this crossover, and it's going to slowly start getting closer and closer into the future. And as a result, you can see that that's no longer going to be a 400k Bitcoin where we cross over in 2027. In early 2026, late 2025, that would get us into reasonable levels, maybe 130, 40, 50, 60, 70, depending on when we see that crossover. But the thing is that if within just a few days from April 2027 to February 2027, that change has occurred by 2 months, we're going to be seeing that occur more and more as price goes up and as time goes by, because as price is maintaining these levels, we're going to simply naturally see this moving average continue to curl up. And the thing about this moving average is it's really been a massive curl up. We spoke about this in a previous video where the trend angle is quite sharp here. It's only getting sharper. In fact, this moving average is ascending in a parabolic-like fashion as we move to new all-time highs. And right now, actually, Bitcoin is gunning for them, and they're probably going to break out to new all-time highs. But if we're going to shift still this moving average by only a small additional amount, so we know that this moving average is really curling up quickly with each passing day, with price moving higher, even a slight curl up, a slight additional curl up, that's going to get us into early 2026 for a Pi cycle top crossover. So the more this upside continues, and it doesn't even have to be upside, because just notice how multi-month consolidation here was also curling that price action up. So if we even see a pullback in the future, wherever that may be, wherever that consolidation occurs, we're still going to continue to see this moving average curl up and continue to accelerate towards the upside and continue to bring this Pi cycle crossover earlier and earlier into the future. So of course you can try and ask yourself, are we actually going to get a crossover in the cycle at all? And the way that I'm approaching this is that and of course, if you've seen my videos, if we come up with a September, October, November, maybe even December to just close that bull market within 2025 to respect the 4-year cycle and respect and adhere to historical halving cycles, if we close within that time frame of September to December 2025, then this is going to be that general region where we should probably not participate heavily in the market, or at least start scaling out of our positions and partially profit taking at least, and maybe at least also taking our principal off the table within this time period. Maybe if you want to be a bit more conservative, then you can start doing that earlier. But of course, everybody's strategy is different. And as we approach the end of this cycle and the most fervent and emotionally charged parabolic phase of the cycle, euphoria, greed, FOMO, it's all going to be there in droves. It's going to be a really emotional time here. And looking at these data indicators, that's going to be really important to really stay abreast of them, to keep us level-headed, to keep us calm, to keep us reliant on data, which isn't emotional. And so if you want to sign up to the free Rekt Capital newsletter, where we keep you abreast of all those changes, level-headed insights, data-driven perspectives and analysis, feel free to click on the link in the description down below to sign up for free. And that being said, we also have a price increase going on for all the upper tiers, and so we're going to be increasing those prices soon, simply because Bitcoin is increasing in its price, and we haven't increased our prices for a while now. So Bitcoin is increasing in price, so the Rekt Capital newsletter plans also need to increase in price as well. But that being said, the closer we get to a pi cycle crossover, the closer these moving averages will be. And that's also when we need to really be mindful that even if a crossover doesn't occur, but these moving averages, let's say these moving averages are, for example, like this, very close to one another, but in September, November, then I'm not going to probably wait for those moving averages to cross over, right? Because if we're already getting into this sort of period where the crossover is pretty much already done, getting into September, November, October, December, and having that crossover really close, I'm not going to be taking any chances. I don't need an additional 10, 20, maybe even 30% in Bitcoin at this point in time. I prefer to lock in the profits, and if there are life-changing gains to be made, then change your life. It's as simple as that. If you're in crypto just to improve your lifestyle, change your life, change your family's life, for example, retire your parents, improve your life by building a house for your family, these are all fantastic goals, and we need to keep that in mind and not stray in this high emotion period that's upon us. And it's going to be really important to focus on these data science metrics as we go along. Keep the probabilities of success in our hands by focusing on the data and the insights, the cutting edge insights and analysis, rather than fall prey to the emotions, because it's very easy to panic when price is going down and also be euphoric when price is going up. But it's all about trying to keep a level head, and focusing on this data is what will really help with that. So the crossover is getting closer and closer and closer, and once it gets into 2025, for example, because even with this slight shift, we're probably going to see this slight shift occur maybe even in the next few days if things progress as they have been. If this slight shift occurs soon, we'll be back in 2026 with this crossover, because at the moment we're in 2027. But the more we get into 2026, and once we get into 2025 for that crossover, that's going to be a really important time to be vigilant of an impending bull cycle correction, even if we don't cross over. The closer we get to that crossover within this period, that's going to be something to really watch out for. Obviously, this is just one indicator among many, and it's important to find confluence among all those other indicators, but this indicator is going to be an important one, hence this really important update, given how quickly the prospective changes in these moving averages, how quickly those changes are occurring, and they're occurring very quickly as a result of this recent advance in Bitcoin's price action. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this in the future. Like this video if you enjoyed this video as well, and check out my previous video for more. Speak to you soon.